everyone? Welcome to another episode of Lockdown. And today I got my brother from across the causeway, a fellow MC and a fellow man of the showbiz and the stage. Mr. Ross Sarpani is in the house. What's up, man?
Hey, hi John, how are you?
Good, man. It's been a while. I can't recall when we last saw each other in person, but definitely we see each other's exploits all across social media, lah. So,
Now I kind of like remember when it was the last time we met. It was in one of an audio visual exhibition.
yep.
Oh no, it was only last November, the special events awards.
Yes. That's right.
Yeah,
But properly sitting down was over Kaifan lah at that event in MBS.
okay, right, correct.
Yeah.
How's it going in KL, man?
Very good, man. Very good. I mean, very good. 2019 was a great year. 2020, I think God is testing all of us. Our
Oh my God,
tested. But
I know.
before we get to that, I want to also find out a little bit more about you. Tell a quick story on who you are. So
Okay,
let's just do a bit of background. So you are Singaporean, right?
yeah, yes, born and bred in Singapore.
Are you what? Are you mixed or because that name is throws me off sometimes.
No, basically my dad, that's my dad's name, Sarpani. And Malay, bro, Malay.
Oh, I didn't know that. Didn't know
So,
that. So, how long have you been in show business, huh?
okay, so I started well, I think it's about 20 years already in show business.
Okay.
So you can say I started my show business career when I was like 10 years old.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, when I was 10 years old. So that was 20 years ago. So I'm 30 years old. No, I'm just kidding, lah, bro. 20 years. I'm turning 50 this year, man.
No
Happy birthday
way.
to me.
No way. Are you serious?
No, my birthday is on the 22nd of April. We were supposed to have a big bash in a hotel tomorrow on the 4th of April.
Bro,
No, on Saturday. Yeah.
what's the secret to your youthful? What the heck? You're joking.
I'm turning, I'm turning 50, bro, in about, I don't know, 18 days time.
Dude,
Yeah.
you're 35, man. What the heck?
But you look good, lah. Come on.
Hey, you look 15 years younger than you are, man.
Thank you.
Good on
Maybe the Zoom has got some filters that make you look younger, huh?
Must be the warm lighting at home, lah. So
Anyway,
how long have you been in show business? 20 years.
okay, 20 years. 20 years I've been in show business. I started out as how I think you started out as well, what carrying equipments, getting into the showbiz back in the 80s. We carried equipments, we set up, and then we
It's
change. We
20 years, bro.
Sorry?
Is it 20 years or 30 years? If it's 20, you only started at 30.
No, it's been 20 years. 20 plus 25 years in show business as a professional MC. But before that, I was a DJ, I was a roadie, I was a salesperson for events and all that. Yeah,
30 years lah in entertainment.
yeah, that's right. Yeah lah, around there lah.
Because if you say 20 years, then that would be like, what were you doing in the first 10 years of like, say, when you were working? Do you remember when you first officially, or I would say your first paycheck from hosting as an MC? Do you remember how long ago that was? Or,
Okay, wait, I'm 50. First paycheck, I remember $150. When I was 23 years old, 24 years old, my first job ever.
DJing or MCing?
That was a little bit of MCing. Yeah, a little bit of MCing. That was when I started my foray, slowly into the MC world. But it didn't kick off maybe until I was like 25, 26 years old. So that's about 25 years ago. And that got me started. So I was doing it on a part-time basis. And then 30 years old, 31 years old, when I had my firstborn, I had twin boys.
Wow.
Yeah, They're 19 years old. Yeah, this month they're 19 years old. So both when both of them came well, both of them were introduced to the world, right?
Yeah.
When both of them were introduced to the world, I was like, oh, okay. So let's start and try and see how it goes going full-time emceeing. And I'm blessed. You know, I was blessed to have supportive friends and clients who always, you know, repeat clients who always use me. And I thought, hey, maybe this might work. You know, after a couple of months of trying out, it pays the bill. It pays the bills and gives me a little bit of room to have little luxuries in life. And I was looking at it and said, hey, why not? Let's go. And I did it full time, man. So I never looked back since.
So about 20,
And it's always a kid.
20. So I
Sorry?
guess your twins mark the turning point when you went doing
Yeah.
full time lah. I understand.
That's right.
I understand now. No wonder you say 20 years. Okay, so are you bilingual? Do you do English, Malay, or just
Yeah, English, Malay.
can you do
Effectively more. Sorry?
can you do any Chinese?
You know, well, as always, you know, I can do all the words that you wouldn't want to hear. That will be very fluent, but unfortunately, it's not allowed, especially in our government in a country like Singapore. So none of that. But I'm effectively bilingual, but unfortunately, more English than Malay. I tried, and a lot of people are asking me whether I can speak Malay. I said yes, of course. I feel offended because hey, I'm Malay. I can speak Malay I can speak the language, but unfortunately, the fact that you know for 20 over years, when you hold the microphone and the first thing you do is to speak on the microphone in English, it becomes a habit. Yeah, it becomes a habit. And it's just that you know sometimes you're not so used to speaking in Malay while you're holding the microphone, and that's when you stutter, and that's when you try to figure out the Malay words that's not familiar to you, and because you seldom use it, right?
Yeah.
So that was I learned a few you know along the way. I kind of like brushed up on my Malay, and I think now it's still okay. I mean it's okay. I can host a Malay event, you know, pretty well now.
Understand. Well, okay, that's nice to hear. So, I mean, so far you've been focused, or based in Singapore, but I'm sure you've done events or gigs outside of Singapore as well.
Yeah. So when I started out, when I was like 31, 32, so there's a lot of events happening in Malaysia at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a few events in Malaysia.
Mm-hmm.
And I was also privileged to travel abroad, places like Rome, Vegas, where else? Of course, the Asian region like Bali, Bangkok. You know, I conduct shows and host events around Asian region many times. But the more notable ones were in Europe, London, Rome, and Vegas. So basically, those are the days, good old days when I used to travel and host. And these are for insurance companies who
I was gonna say,
who does their incentive trips. Those were the early years of incentive trips offered to insurance companies or offered by insurance companies. And they're cool, man. Very, very nice. Eye opener.
awesome. So besides emceeing now, are you doing anything else? Because I know you do events as well. Correct.
Do with what? Sorry?
Do you
Do
do
with?
events as well? Event.
Sorry, you're breaking up.
Do you do it?
No. I used to do events. 35, 36 years old. Used to do events.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the pressure has got was a little bit, you know, I couldn't take the pressure lah. Let's put it that way. I'm a very focused person, and I'm a warrior. So that's the whole thing. Because in events, right, you got so many things happening. You've got this, you know, left, right, center, back, your clients, your contractors, your vendors, and everything else. And I would like to have everything perfect. So unfortunately, it took a toll on my health, and it gave me a lot of stress. And a little episode happened, you know, health-wise. So I decided to quit entertainment altogether. Events, sorry. I quit taking on events project altogether. Yeah, at 36 years old or 37 years old, something like that.
Okay. Well, I mean, I completely get it, man. I mean, sometimes I ask myself, why do I put myself through? Because, I do both, right?
Hey,
Um,
you know what? Whenever I have friends who are doing events and I can see that the stress that they're handling, and they're perfectly calm. Some people are made to host. I mean, to do events. To work in the events line. And I always tell them, hey, I salute you, man, because I've tried it. It's pretty tough for me, but I salute people like you and people like who's doing events right now. Really, 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 I really don't know how you take the pressure.
yeah, man. I mean, that's why I think, was it last year, or the year before, an article came out, one of the top five most stressful jobs in the world, right up there
Yep.
with like surgeons and firemen, was actually an event planner. And it makes a lot of sense,
Yeah.
because, yeah, especially when you're in live event mode, good Lord, it might as well.
Yep.
I would say probably the most stressful event out there would be probably like the Olympics. So if you're the show caller for the Olympics, good Lord, that's like that's like right up there lah, for like the most high profile event that you could possibly think of, right? But can you imagine?
No, and interestingly enough, I enjoy doing show calling.
Oh,
Uh, I own a company called the Show Producers, and I'm a show producer myself, which means that technically I come up with the concept and then provide the sound, the lights, the hardware to make a show happen, and I do show calling, and I enjoy show calling or show producing. So ironically, I can't do events. I find it very, very stressful. But when I'm in that show producing mode or show producers mode, I find it very comforting, and I like to call cues, and I like to make things happen right before my eyes. So
nice.
that's pretty strange, right?
I know, man. Who would have thought? I've never heard somebody put it in that way, man. Like that's quite an interesting angle you are coming into the picture that way. Okay, so my next question to you is like, what's the highlight been of the last at least I guess 19 years in hosting and like your I would say your strongest 20 years in showbiz, so to speak, like, not to say the first 10 years don't count, the ones before
Okay.
that. What's been the highlight?
Oh, easy question. Easy question, and easy for me to answer.
Ah,
Uh, okay. So 32 years old, 33 years old. I
okay.
got just before that, I was doing a lot of dinner dances, galas, and stuff like that. I travel overseas, I travel abroad, and host events. And then an opportunity came to me to host a different set of event, which is sports event.
Mm,
And at that time, I was 33, maybe 32, and it was the second Standard Chartered Singapore Marathon, and that was my second foray into the sports hosting arena.
okay.
And I tell you, I never looked back since. And ever since that year, I've been the main host together with another partner of mine, Cyril. We've been the helm of the Standard Chartered Singapore Marathon for 15 years.
Oh, wow.
So we hosted that for 15 years, bro. 15 years
Oh,
until 2017 or 2016. Can't remember. Yeah. So that was an awesome. So that was when, I mean, to answer your question, and that back then, the first Standard Chartered Singapore Marathon, and that spiraled to what I am doing still right now, specializing in sports events. So I'm a
understood.
sports presenter,
Yeah.
and I've hosted many major sports major sports events here in Singapore.
It's funny that you say that. That automatically got my mind thinking. And for MC gigs, right, there's only one client that comes to mind that I've done 13 times in total. From actually the first year I started hosting, which was 2012. So I'm 1 year behind you. This is my
Uh-huh.
18th year of professional MCing. And ironically, I began in that year and I had a 13-year run with some gaps or 13 outings with them. It's actually Toyota Brunei. They flew me
Oh,
out.
really?
They flew me out to Brunei 13 times in total. And yeah, and
Ah.
it was like almost like balik kampung, you know. Like every time I go there,
Hey, hey, hang on. I think I did one event for Toyota Brunei, in Brunei.
NBT Brunei, it's the biggest dealership. There's no Toyota per se, but NBT is
Ah,
because it's like Malaysia's UMW Toyota. So in
yeah,
Brunei,
yeah.
it's NBT. Yeah.
Which
So
was the year you missed? Maybe that was the year I came in.
no. No. So the thing is, the event that I used to do consecutively was actually a treasure hunt event that used to happen every July. It was a car
Mm-hmm.
treasure hunt event, and that was consecutively between 2002 all the way till I think somewhere like 2011, 12. And then after that was their annual dinners. I think I've done their annual dinners four times, five times.
Mm, mm.
It
It's
was
good.
it wasn't the same event, but it was the same client and the same group of people.
Mm, mm, mm. It
Yeah.
just goes to show, right? In this business, right? If you do well, if you do something well, and the clients like you, I always tell the young MCs who's coming on board, taking this as a profession. I always tell them this: this business is not about how good or how entertaining you are, but whether you can connect and whether the client or the people whom you're connecting likes you or not, and your delivery. So it's all about likability rather than being.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a very good point you brought up, but what has been your greatest learning curve as an MC? I mean, besides what you just said, I mean, because that is super, super important. But what's your greatest learning curve so far as an MC?
What do you mean by learning curve? What
Uh,
do you mean?
I mean, what have you learned that you realize? Okay, besides the likability bit, but what have you learned along the way that as you perfected your craft, and the moment it
Yeah.
dawned upon you that this was something you just learned, and after that, you never repeated, say, a prior particular
Mm,
style or,
mm,
or thing that you used to do because that one event kind of set it straight for you, and thereafter it just became you kind of knew that this is the right. Like I can say that happened. I had a turning point in my career as an MC maybe in 2010 after 8 years. So and I knew what it was, and I can tell you later. But I'm just curious if you had some kind of like eureka moment, like
mm. Okay. Good question. Good question. Eureka moment. Uh, it's all about. I think what I've learned throughout the years is this. I've always been struggling on how to, make my shows or make my presentations better in terms of the delivery on myself, from where I am. But I think at one point in time, I realized it was all about connectivity. It's all about connectivity, meaning um, it's when you're on stage holding that microphone, a lot of people are listening. It's how well you can connect to the audience. It's basically to reach out and touch them, all right, at certain moments throughout the presentation or throughout the work that you're doing on stage. It's that connectivity, it's getting people involved and getting people to react accordingly. I think to me, that is the most important thing of all in the MC profession. Um, so taking this into context, things like, I've been in the sports event industry for the past 20 years. I've built up a lot of friends. And mind you, the fact that I can connect with them. Can you imagine? Okay, 50,000 runners, all right, taking part in a marathon,
yeah,
and especially when you're at the starting line, if you are able to stand up there, all right, while they're waiting for the gun or for the air horn to be sounded, for them to run off, that half an hour of space
yeah,
where you entertain and when you talk to them, you need to connect with them and make it more interesting. It's like, bro, 4:30 in the morning, thousands of people in front of you. What do you do, man? Right? What do you do to entertain them? You've got half an hour. You've got your music. You've got your DJ playing the music. So you need to have that connection. And once you have that connection, that half an hour is too short because you can say out their names. You can say out, whoever it is that's participating and who's waiting in the starting pen. to wait for the air horn to go. You can go to one person, one runner, and tell people in general, hey, this guy runs a 7-minute pace for a 7 minute per kilometer pace. He should be doing well, very well. This guy has just gone to London to complete to compete in the London Marathon. So it's those kind of thing. And when the runners run by, they wave at you. And they know that their names will be mentioned because you know them personally. So it's all about connectivity.
So actually, I think what you're trying to say, and I think it's absolutely, for me, it's probably I think the most pivotal thing any MC can come to terms with when they have realized that is you realize that you knew how to read your crowd. Once you knew how to read your crowd, you had them eating out of your hands.
Yes, you are right. Absolutely right.
Yeah.
You got to understand. It's not about you. When you're on stage, it's not always about you and what you can do. It's always about how you interact with the crowd and get them participating in your show. And it always boils down to the audience at the end of the day.
Yeah. So I'll tell you. So that's exactly the same. When 8 years into my career is when I realized formal was not my thing. And my strength was in informal. And it was at that turning point when I realized that I no longer was worried to do what I did, but I used to watch the crowd and their reactions told me I was doing something right.
Yeah.
And I think what you just said, and I think every MC should realize that, I mean, we think we are the star of the event or the main highlight. In reality, we are merely the gel that just gels every segment of the event. We just put it together.
Yeah.
We're like
sometimes it's good.
Sorry.
No, sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's good that you have a certain talent in which the audience, will enjoy. I'm sure you have some talents like some MCs who sing, who can sing very, very well, or some MCs who can dance very well. All right. But it's the ability to showcase your talent and also be humble enough to get the audience to react to it and say that, hey, look at this guy. He's making a fool of himself. Why not I do the same, And it sets the mood to every party.
Yeah, but you know what? And I think that not everybody can happily do the same thing. I mean, I remember at least ironically, you will know this guy, but when I started out, do you know whose videos I used to study? And back then was VCs. You won't believe it, lah, bro. And I need to,
bro.
I need to talk to him. Mo Alkaf, lah.
My buddy, man.
I used to, because back then when I started out, his name was buzzing. This was 2003, I remember, and there was a guy in town, Laggy, whose friend was from Singapore, Adrian, who also did events, a Chinese gentleman, Adrian Tan.
No, I know who, Adrian Leong.
Leong, you're right, who also a little bit, and I think he was definitely inspired by Mo because he did a lot of similar mass games and all that. And that's when I started hearing this name. So I started just literally religiously studying Mo's. At that point, it was VCD. It's not even DVD. VCD, and it was hilarious. I'm like, wow, this guy is like, he knows no shame, because he will do the freaking worm lah. He will do whatever, It was like, and so then
Listen, Mo, during his time, during the time that you were introduced to him, he was the entertainer, the show host in Singapore. People pay big bucks just to have him appear on their dinner and dances and galas.
Right.
And he's now 56, maybe?
Correct.
Maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. And I used to work out with him a few years ago. I used to work out with him every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. All right. So we come together. We at the playground. All right. We pay this buffed up guy by the name of Emcee $20 a pop, $20 a session, and it was 1.5 hours of pain. All right. So we did a lot of Tabata or hit, and then there was circuit training and all that. And he was about 50 plus years old back there at that time. I tell you, he is the most fit guy I've ever seen. he is so fit. He keeps his physique well, and he's really, really fit. He's one of those. And when he does shows, you'll see him perspire. No, perspire is not the word. You see him sweat. He'll be drenched. His whole outfit, costume will be all wet. And that's more alka for you. And one thing I learned from him is that when you're ever on stage, when you perform, you give 100%.
Yeah, and it's so funny, but I've yet to meet the man in person. But believe it or not, his videos set the tone for my performance style, and that's what I do till today. When I'm on stage, I go 200%, and yeah, lah, I always go back with a soaking wet, whether it's baju ka apa. The only difference is I'm not built like a tank like him. Like, I'm working on it. I'm trying to get fit.
Yeah, I think you're doing very well. You're quite fit. You look good. I think the most important thing is, in Malay it says, "Kala tak apa, gaya mesti ada." So it doesn't matter whether you're fit or not, but you must look fit. You must look the part.
I'm 6 feet. That's why I get away with it. I got on my side to hide all the blemishes. So just to
Hey, here's another question, John. Here's another question. I mean, you guys are all cooped up at home for the past how many days? 20 days maybe? I don't know how many days.
Yep.
Do you do any workout? I know there was one time I see you were quite active in mountain biking, right?
Correct. So now my bike sits there and cries forlornly for me. Uh, I'm actually, waiting for this to wind down, and then I'm actually definitely going to go out there and ride again. But ironically, for the last 2 weeks, or well, at least 10 days, I've been religiously doing my home workouts, lah. My own version of HIIT, lah. And actually, it's making a difference, lah. Today, when I posted a photo, people thought I've been starving myself for the last 20 days at home.
Better not, man. But it's good that you guys are trying to keep fit, home-based. I think it's crucial.
I mean, mentally alone, for us in showbiz, where we thrive on being out there, this is the most I've ever stayed at home, man. I have never stayed at home consecutively like this. And last year was the year I traveled the most for work and for personal travels. And it's such a turnaround, a flip around this year, just to see it's like, but the entire world is being affected by what's going on.
Yeah.
And so
man.
it's a perfect timing that, I want to just switch the conversation to that, because I've seen that all my Singaporean friends who I have on my feed, you and Gerard Rodriguez are the two most vocal guys, Gerard for the AV industry and the suppliers, and you, I think, doing a stellar job to be the voice of talents, and freelancers in Singapore. But I think you guys felt the brunt of it a little bit earlier than us, right? Because I think Singapore reported its first case as early as Jan, correct? Or was it December?
January. Sometime was it after Chinese New Year? Yeah, so towards the end of January. Yep.
Yeah, correct. But I mean, at that point, Malaysia was oblivious, like, oh, we are fine, everything's hunky-dory. And I knew things were happening because I had one big event, but the one that was going to happen a week after that, which was the first week of February, was already shelved in the middle of Jan. With all these multinationals, they're the only ones who take these things very seriously. Like local companies, if it's like a homegrown company, SMEs and all that, they're a little bit more cautious, or they're a little bit more slower in responding to these things. At least in this side, in our neck of the woods. But in any case, so I realized that you've been doing a lot, and I think what has been the biggest learning curve in this last 4 months? Now it's entering the 4th month, but 3 solid months of like major earthquake in our industry.
Okay, so I'm an advocate, a strong advocate of positive thinking. Right? I look things positively, try to turn the negatives into positive, and I'm blessed to have such a strong mind in doing so. I always look into the positives. So to address that situation, quite bad here in Singapore as well in terms of the business events industry. I wouldn't want to repeat whatever it is that maybe Gerard or Vishal, for that matter, has informed you, but it's really, really bad. I mean, similar to Singapore, events industry has gone from a very hopeful 2020. It started out very well, but unfortunately, it all went down to zero events. I think Malaysia as well, right? Based on the lockdown and all that, so it's still zero. So what we did was, I'm part of an association which I co-founded with a few guys, veterans in the industry, and it's called the STAR Association. So the STAR plays with the words, with these words of so it stands for Singapore Talents, Artists and Resources. So we are the voice and we represent the events and entertainment industry here in Singapore. Right? So it's been existence for 5 years, and throughout the entire 5 years before 2020, we started out as being an association where we should, our goal was to elevate the standards of the events and entertainment industry in Singapore. We held courses, we had master classes, all right, for the MCs, the DJs, the audio people, and also we represent the event companies here in Singapore. Unfortunately, the take-up rate for event companies wasn't that fantastic, but we had a strong support from the MCs of Singapore and the DJs of Singapore. So when COVID-19 happened, late January, I was out of Star Association for the whole of 2019 because there was a change of guards. So unfortunately, things happened, and I decided to join back and started a committee to look into the COVID-19 situation, because I can see personally that it's gonna affect a lot of people in a big way, and unfortunately I was proven right. So we're not looking at 3-6 months, bro, of the situation as it is right now. We're looking at, most probably the reality is till the end of 2020, and that's a scary notion, you know. So our job, basically, the Star Association is to engage the government and to really make ourselves heard, especially the events and entertainment industry. We're kind of like the forgotten child in the whole spectrum of business in Singapore. But right now, we are gaining a lot of traction. We're working closely with government bodies here in Singapore to ease the pain of this merciless storm. Businesses are affected, events companies are affected, our freelancers are affected. And when we talk about freelancers, the whole spectrum, we're talking about the MCs, we're talking about the DJs, we're talking about audio-visual part-time guys who does your rigging and who does your sound and all that. Musicians, performers, everybody is affected. Even the KOLs or the key opinion leaders or influencers, all of us are affected. Yeah, so that's the update so far.
But it looks like, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't the government step in finally to help in a little way for freelancers and things like that?
Yeah. So what happened was, after much pushing from the industries, and also Star Association sending out letters and engaging with the government bodies and the appropriate agencies to tell them about the situation and how we need support. We collated data on how much businesses we have lost and how much potential staff in the events company, in the events industry business, the event companies, how much staff would lose their job, potentially lose their job. So they came up with not one but two packages to salvage and help the situation.
Right.
But still, I was talking to somebody earlier on. The help given is beneficial for some, right? But unfortunately, if you are above a certain income bracket, all right, if you are earning a little bit more than what the criteria was stated, you won't receive those benefits. So we are fighting that again, trying to put out that fire to say that, hey, COVID-19 doesn't see how much money you earn or what kind of house you stay. COVID-19 merciless, man. It affects everybody. All right. So the news was the government will give all freelancers, majority are MCs. So freelancers include MCs, DJs, people in the events industry who are freelancers, but also includes taxi drivers, private hire vehicle owners, drivers, your tutors, your delivery, your Grab delivery guys. These are all freelancers. So if you earn a certain amount of, if you are earning less than $100,000 a year, based on your income tax, or you are staying in a property, which is the annual value is $13,000 and below, all right? Or if your spouse who's working earns less than $70,000 a year, you are entitled for a $1,000 per month for 9 months allowance. So what happens to the rest? The ones who are earning $110,000 a year, who's staying in a property which is above $13,000 annual value, and a spouse who earns $75,000, they won't get that $100,000 even though they are freelancers. Yeah, so that's the problem we're facing, and that makes it.
You said 1,000 a month, 90,000.
1,000 a month for 9 months, so that makes it 9,000 Sing dollars.
Right, not 100,000. Sorry.
Yeah. No. 100,000 is the amount of earnings, your annual income. You need to be below that amount.
Understand.
In order for you to enjoy.
Understand. Well, at least, I mean, for what it's worth, at least your government is even considering to listen to you guys when it comes to our industry. Right now, we are trying very hard, first of all, to get the voice of SMEs heard, because in the recent stimulus package, there was a significant void for SMEs. They took care of those in the B40, which is the lower income bracket. But I would say everyone else, especially the SMEs, the people like us who pretty much hire the most amount of the everyday Malaysian out there, SMEs are the ones who really power the economy in reality. We are screwed left, right, and center. And now I'm speaking as a business owner, no longer as an MC, as a business owner with employees that I need to take care of. And I was speaking to all my industry mates, fellow event company owners, and looking at the bleak outlook, just like you said, I mean, every one of us is pegging it at a minimum 12 round, right? In reality, for a full turnaround, it's going to be the first quarter of next year, not this year. I mean.
Wow. Oh, okay.
No, I mean, like, for events to come back to a state of normalcy. That's what I meant. So it'll be great.
No, bro, how I look at it is this. The situation in terms of the virus, containing the virus and making things stable. Within this year, I think, it would be, it will be under control. I think your government and our government are doing a fantastic job, especially yours, because you have the lockdown, nip it in the bud, cut it, just suffer for 2-3 weeks, all right, and then have the problem solved. So we're looking at another 3 or 4 months of that, all right, with the COVID-19 situation. But then what follows after this is the economy. The economy would, increase or be get better at a very, very slow rate. So, I mean, what you predicted, I think the first quarter of next year is not far-fetched. I think you have a point in that. So I think I'm gonna reverse my prediction and say that, similar to you, it's gonna be the next quarter, for 2021.
For us in events and showbiz, we're hoping at least the last quarter where we typically bang, we bang hard.
December,
Let's just hope and pray that, at least in our neck of the woods, The pandemic is completely negated down to just being a memory that shook us by our bootstraps. Like, dude, you smoke a pipe, ah?
I smoked a pipe for many, many years already, bro.
Homeboy, my God, we're gonna have to. I have a pipe too. You should have told me. I would have cracked it open.
Yay.
I haven't lit it up in a long time, but I would have been happy to puff away with you, man. Okay, I tell you what, we'll do a separate one. We'll do pipe sessions and then we talk, sing song. This is awesome, man. I know someone else who smokes a pipe, you know. Ah, so cool.
Hey, let me show you my pride and joy. Look at that, man.
Oh,
This is
wow.
a Porsche. This is a Porsche design pipe.
Oh, high
Look
roller.
at how it's cool. Yeah, this is nice. Oh yeah, I'm always been a pipe smoker. It allows me to cut down on my smoking.
Yeah, but later I'm gonna light up one of my Cubans lah. I got a humidor at home, so I'll do my
Yeah.
after dinner story lah, you know.
No, okay. So wait, hang on, John. I want to ask you, Malaysian, as a Malaysian and as a business owner,
Yeah.
the impact must have been extremely great on your end in terms of business wise, right? You've got overheads. So it's already been how many months? 2, 3 months, right? So your overheads, your staff, your rental, if you own a property, unless you pay cash, but you got to pay mortgage, how are you guys surviving right now?
So to answer your question very quickly, just before the second stimulus package was announced, we were basically banging our heads on the wall. We're like, okay. To be honest, I mean, since after January, February, March, April, now 3 months, zero revenue. Yeah, for us event companies, zero. My last event was end of Jan, and then boom, everyone started saying boom, 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 postpone, 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 postpone,
Yep,
and the
yep,
dominoes
yep.
have fallen, And so my earliest event, at least verbally now, or it's in the clouds, is June, right?
Mm,
June is what
mm,
defines June and July lah. So even then, it's subject to how quickly we
yep.
really negate the situation here in KL, anyways, or at least in Malaysia as a whole. Okay. Then the second stimulus package came out, and the National Bank, or the Bank Negara Malaysia, uh, under the guidance of the government and the parliament, they pretty much pushed every single bank to roll out moratoriums. So as of now, we've got 6 months of a moratorium on home loans and car loans. So that's very,
Wow.
all right. So 6 months will definitely help us to tide over a little bit. But that doesn't help us business owners with our monthly overheads. As you said,
Yep.
like, so from if you're renting your property, your staff overheads, and the rest of the business expenses. So the short answer to a very long story is we are basically surviving and running off our reserves, lah,
Yeah.
or just, cash in the bank, and we're just gonna tide over and just pray that
Mm.
breaks real quick so that we can get back to earning revenue again, right? I mean, whoever wants to run a business month to month with zero revenue inbound, lah.
Yeah.
In fact,
Yeah, yeah,
history of my business, I've never ever faced this, never.
yeah, never. Likewise.
And May, Jiggee, my company turns 20, and of course, the first 3 years was just me operating it as a very, very,
Mm. Yeah.
uh,
Lean.
lean, or more of a clown company. But as an event company, solid events has only been the last 16 years. So in 16 years of like running events at the scale that I run it today, I've never ever faced something like this, because when SARS happened is when I was literally starting
Yeah,
event.
yeah,
Before that, I
yeah,
was emceeing and doing clown gigs. It was, I didn't feel it.
yeah.
I went into events in
Mm.
2003, and SARS had just come online. So it meant nothing to me because I was operating out of my bedroom at home. You know,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was zero impact on me, But fast forward
yeah,
17 years now, it's like, good Lord, it's like it's hit us and everyone else I know uh,
yeah,
like a ton of bricks, But I think what we're all doing is I've actually seen a lot of industry mates come together for the first time, which I think has been
Oh,
positive. This feeling of camaraderie, and we're all soldiering brothers in arms,
oh,
sisters in arms. I think has been for me one of the most positive things on the flip side. Because in reality, we are all competitors out there, But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
especially the business owners, we are literally looking out for each other. I mean, even that little, like, I mean, I have never spoken to this many event company owners like I have in the last 2 weeks, all because we are all in the same boat together, you know.
Yeah.
We all have,
I mean, yeah, carry on, carry on.
we all have employees that we love. They are our family. I was just talking to Gerard about this as well. I mean, we've got long service and we've got long serving employees who've been with us, uh, for most of us, some of us over 10 years, our right hand men and women. And it's like this is really like upending our business model in a way like it never has before. But the nice thing about this is it's been good to have almost like an Alcoholics Anonymous of event company owners, We're all like looking out for each other and like having this little we check on
Sessions.
little sessions.
Oh,
At least for me, it's been one-on-one, So I've actually been quite empowered just by knowing that we're all in the same situation. Every one of us
yeah.
love and respect our staff that we have on our payroll. That they are, we will fight tooth and nail to do whatever it takes as a business owner to make sure that we are the last skipper, like, as a skipper, we're the last ones to
Yeah.
go.
Oh,
I mean, for
yeah. Applaud.
you
I
know,
mean, I applaud that.
and I think every single one of them have said the same thing. So I know that I'm not the only one who thinks that way. So this is the nice thing about, I think, especially the events industry, because every one of us business owners or even AV companies, we know that minus our people, we are nothing. We are
Yeah,
nothing.
nothing. Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
face of the company, we might be the face of the brand. Yes, we might be the creative brains. Minus our foot soldiers, we are
Yeah.
nothing. All the accolades thrown at us, all the pomp and splendor and glory, especially for me, because I'm not just running an event company, but I'm also on stage all the time. But the real people running my show so that I can get up there and host with peace of mind is my people. So
Yeah.
and
No, interesting that interesting that you brought this up. I've engaged a lot of event companies here in Singapore as well.
yeah,
Number one, they're in a dilemma. On one hand, uh, they really, really want to keep their staff, all right, and hold on to as long as possible. But the nature of businesses here in Singapore is that, I mean, if you don't have revenue for 3 or 4 months, bro, you are screwed. Really screwed. The amount of reserves that you have will diminish right before your very eyes. It will go down very fast because of the higher standards of living and higher pay of Singaporeans here. But the dilemma is for event company owners is this: as much as they want to try and keep things lean and reduce their overheads, which means one thing: they either have to let go of their staff or put them on no pay leave.
correct.
But the dilemma comes when there's an upturn. Whenever there's an upturn, the owners of the event companies would think, if there is an upturn, there'll be a surge of events coming in. And if you let all your staff go, all right, in order for you to survive this crucial period, how confident are you to get them back and start working? Even though you have plenty of events happening, you won't have any capable people to help you build that and to service the clients. So that's the dilemma a lot of event company owners are facing right now. On one hand, they they can't hold on to as many staff as possible because of the overheads, and it will result in the business folding up, Yeah. But on the other hand, if they shut everything and they take a 6-month break, And if that surge comes in after the tide is over and everybody goes back to normal, where do they get capable people? They won't be able to get any capable. Maybe that the people who they lay off has got another job elsewhere, and it's very difficult for them to activate them, you know. So that's the dilemma the event company owners here in Singapore are facing as well. So I think likewise with the ones in Malaysia as well, right?
You summarized it exactly what's going on. It's exactly what we've talked about, in the sense of, you know, if it results to that, or it results in something like that happening, that's exactly the predicament that happens when an uptake happens, you see. So it's something that's never been seen before, never been experienced before.
Never.
Every one of us, in reality, it's a tough decision to make, you know, or tough.
Yeah, very tough, very tough.
I know of one or two who have already activated some measures, and then there are quite a few of us who are, for now, waiting it out. You know, but as you said, you know, I mean, I'm not saying that we're all billionaires who can wait it out forever, you know.
Yeah.
You know, but the reality of it, as you know, as business owners, especially in an events industry where our small little team that we have is family, right? They're family.
Yeah.
And you know, it's not easy, you know. It's like, but decisions will need to be made. But for now, I think we're all waiting it out and just hoping and praying for the best. In any case, it's been a great chat. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I mean, we said 30 minutes,
No worries.
1 hour, bro. But are you doing anything in the interim as well, aside from being a voice, and just being a spokesperson for your industry mates out there today? Are you doing anything on your own time? Are you doing any upskilling? Are you doing any training, or are you doing any?
All right. So a few things happening. Like I said, I'm always a positive person, and I take, you know, adversities like this. I take, hang on. I think adversities like this, a whole new. I mean, I always look on the bright side, lah. So things happen for a reason. I always believe that. So a few things happening. So number one, we've got a plan. The Star Association is now crafting out courses with another government agency.
Okay.
Because in Singapore, right, one of the relief measures, right, is to allow and encourage freelancers, business owners, and their staff to go for retraining. So when they come for retraining, not only are the courses subsidized heavily, they only pay 10% of the course fee, 90% is subsidized, but also the government will pay you $10 per hour to attend the course. Can you imagine if a course lasts for 8 hours a day and it's a 2-day thingy, you earn $160 just for attending the course. All right. So what we've done is we have curated a few industry-related courses to be rolled out, and I'll be involved in one or two of them. So, you know, like stage presence, you know, conducting courses and trainings on how you can be more confident on stage, be it in a presentation or be it in a, you know, when you're supposed to deliver a speech. So these kind of courses which caters to people in the industry as well as out of the events and entertainment industry. So that is in the pipeline and it's going to be happening at the end of the month, right? So yeah. And then another initiative, because I'm in the sports arena, sports fraternity in Singapore.
Yes.
And there's an agency in Singapore called Sports Singapore, which takes care of everything sports here. What's the equivalent for you guys in Malaysia? Sports Singapore.
As in, that's a government agency, you say?
Yeah.
Here, it's literally just the Ministry of Youth and Sports, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got. Well, actually, it's not a government part of a government agency. All right. So it's called Sports SG or Sports Singapore. Okay. So they've rolled out just 2 weeks ago. They've rolled out the plan of providing opportunities, temporary jobs, and opportunities for people in the sporting industry,
Yep.
as well as people out of sporting industry. So it caters for everybody, and they have just provided like 500 jobs for all these people, temporary jobs to tide things over. And I'm part of the team to engage event management companies in Singapore to roll out initiatives and to roll out and basically to work with Sports Singapore to create events. And it's going to be virtual events now. No more mass participation events. So it's all virtual. And this is where I connect with most of the event management companies in Singapore to come together and roll out, certain projects that Sports Singapore is giving out, and they get paid as well. So that's the beauty of it. The sports fraternity in Singapore is banding together, is coming together and trying their very, very best to assist all of us, the freelancers, and we're talking about the coaches, the physical trainer, the PTs, right? The PTs, what do you call that? Physical trainers, yeah, physical trainers, swim instructors, and then part of the sports fraternity, it includes sports presenters, and EMCs, event management companies who specializes in sports as well, sports events. So that's something very, very positive, and I'm so blessed to have them approaching me as well as my association to offer this help and to reach out to as many people in the events and entertainment industry to get in on the bandwagon, and basically to provide them with jobs and opportunities to earn a living. Yeah.
I mean, I'm so glad I asked you that question, and I'm so glad you gave me that answer, because that's actually powerful. And I think that's actually something that we should replicate on this side of the causeway, because
You
it's,
are right.
thank you, man. I mean, I've not heard of that being done, but I think that is so powerful. And in fact, I think there should be ways we should engage with those of us with experience from both sides, your side and our side, so that we can actually cross border. Because with virtual events, we can just about do anything now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
Sharing that we can do. This is powerful.
mm, no, it's true. It's true. So maybe what you can do is initiate and engage with your government agencies,
Yep.
right? And propose to them. Oh, my cat.
Oh, well, that's the
This
first.
is a straight.
That's the first pet we've had on the show. So hello, Kitty.
Oh, look, he's seated right in front of you.
Oh my
So,
God.
anyway, yeah. So engage with your
Yeah, very powerful. Just to wrap things up.
engage with your government agencies and see how you can work this out. I mean, let's face the fact. All right, the reality is after this thing is over,
Yep.
your MNCs, your corporate clients, they'll be quite wary to take on events, or maybe it's going to take a slow time for them to commit to certain budget which they are so used to,
Yep.
right, in conducting the events. So how I look at it is this: at this point in time, the entire year, concentrate on government support,
Correct.
because the government, if anything else, the government is the only entity or organization who will be trying to spend as much money to get the economy going.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Yeah. So I would suggest you guys band together and as a collective voice, talk to your government agencies, give them some options to create something to help your bros and sis in the events and entertainment industry in Malaysia.
Love it. I'll do that, man. I'll be sure to do that. I mean, I appreciate that. Now, just to wrap, is there anything you want to put out there, especially because I think we're a man who's seen so much of the industry for this long. Any advice you want to just give your fellow MCs or
Yeah. Listen, especially during this time, right? Troubling times. It is what it is. That's number one. All right. It's hard for you to look on the bright side or on the positive side, because I don't think there's going to be any positives for the next few months. All right. But it is what it is. Okay. Once you come out of the 21 days lockdown, period in Malaysia, I would suggest, as how I'm telling all my industry mates as well, find alternative jobs. All right, just to get by. Find alternative jobs just to, tide things over and have a temporary solution.
Yep.
But still keep the passion of events and entertainment alive in you, because this thing won't last forever. Definitely, it will last long, but it won't last forever.
Yep.
So, in the meantime, get an alternative opportunity for you to earn money and keep putting food on the table.
Yep.
And keep that spirit and the passion for events industry alive. And number two, this is coming from my experience, because I've engaged a lot of people throughout this hard times. Mental health. All right, we're talking about mental health right now, because a lot of people will be facing depression.
Yes.
Not only in terms of loss of income, but also in terms of emotional health, like your family. You'll get agitated. So most important thing is, make sure your mind is strong. Talk to people. Always remember that you are not in this alone. Everybody else. Yeah, I think that works for most of us, right? Knowing that, hey, I'm not in this alone, man. It's not. So always talk about it.
Our conversation tonight is case in point. I mean, it's just proven that that we're all banded in this together.
Yeah, and we're offering. We're offering suggestions, and we have a nice little banter, and we're exchanging ideas on how we can cope with the situation. But always talk about it. It's something, it can be depressing, but if you were to talk about about the situation to somebody else, then you realize, hey, we're in this together. I'm not alone. And it kind of like helps you in your mental state of mind, that you should come out of this strong. But more importantly, put food on the table. As anything is possible. Just do whatever it is that's possible to put food on the table and ride through this storm, and always keep the passion alive. Passion for events and entertainment industry alive, because it will come back, and when it comes back, you are all set and ready. Go for trainings, man. Go for courses and all that. So that would help as well. Yeah.
Oh, you're a true rock star, brother. But only somebody with this much experience can talk with that kind of passion, Being so open, so honest. You bared your soul, and I think that's really what I wanted to do tonight, was just to hear how you guys, our fellow brothers and sisters in showbiz across the causeway, are handling things. And I think you pretty much summed it up as best as you could, and I really appreciate that. So thanks for being on the show, bro.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, man. It's a pleasure having a little chat. Yeah, I said half an hour, and now it's like more than an hour already. Oh my God.
Bro, 1 hour and 12 minutes, man. So this is what happens when two jokers who talk for
we got a lot of things to talk about.
The cows come home till the sun rises.
Hey, imagine if we were to sembang at the warung, or whatever, what do you call it, the warung, right?
Mama.
Oh my God. Mama. Yeah, there you go. Hey, I miss, one thing, please I miss JB. You know why? Because that's the only fix I have for my golf, man. Hey, please get it done and over with. Open up JB so that me and my guys can go in and play some golf, man.
We're gonna get through this together, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Hey.
All right. I'll see you.
Hey, keep safe
when I come down to Singapore.
Keep safe. Everybody in Malaysia, keep safe. And remember, events and entertainment industry, whether you're in Singapore or Malaysia, keep that passion alive. Never let it die. All right? We'll get through this together. All for one.
Folks,
for all.
This is Ross Sarpani, the 35-year-old looking 50-year-old.
Must upah you some money lah.
Of youth. Exactly what is he drinking and what is he eating that keeps him looking like this? There has to be something going on, lah.
Water, hydrate, moisturize.
I've been big old H2 as well. All right,
All
brother.
right, cool.
Thank you very much. Peace out.
Peace out, man. Bye.
Bye bye.